Let's talk about something we all do for about a third of our lives, but most of us know almost nothing about: sleep. I mean, we close our eyes and then we wake up. But what is actually happening in between?
Seriously, just think about that. A third of your life. That's an incredible amount of time to be, well, unconscious. But here's the thing. You're not just switched off. Your brain and your body are incredibly busy, running a whole series of complex and absolutely vital programs. So, what are they up to?
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the invisible clock that runs your day. Then we'll peek inside your brain while it's sleeping. It's surprisingly active. We'll dive into some of the weirdest mysteries of sleep, see what happens when it all goes wrong, and then, most importantly, we'll give you some real, practical tools to help you sleep better, maybe even tonight.
Okay, first up, let's get into this powerful internal rhythm that tells you when to be sleepy and when to be wide awake.
It's called your circadian rhythm. And it's not just a human thing. Not at all. Pretty much every plant, every animal, even tiny insects, they all have a biological clock just like this. It's this ancient, primal programming that keeps us in sync with the Earth's spin.
So where's this clock? Well, deep inside your brain, there's a tiny little cluster of cells called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN for short. Think of it like the conductor of a massive orchestra, keeping every part of your body on the same beat. And here's the wildest part. Even if you were locked in a pitch-black room for days, this little master clock would just keep on ticking, staying pretty close to that 24-hour cycle all by itself.
Of course, not everyone's clock is set exactly the same. We call these different settings chronotypes. You've got your larks, the morning people who leap out of bed, and then you've got your owls, who get their best ideas long after the sun has gone down. There's actually a really cool evolutionary theory that this variation was a survival tactic for our ancestors. It meant that someone in the tribe was always naturally awake and alert to keep watch.
And messing with this natural rhythm, it has some pretty serious consequences. That 1-hour jump we do for daylight saving time might not seem like a big deal, but the data is shocking. In the days right after the clocks change, there's a measurable spike in fatal car crashes and even heart attacks. It's a stark reminder of just how sensitive our internal clocks really are.
So, once your master clock finally says, okay, time to sleep, what's actually going on inside your head? Well, it turns out your brain doesn't shut down, not even close. It's just shifting into a whole different mode of operation.
You see, sleep isn't just one thing. It's actually a cycle between two totally different states. First, you have non-REM sleep. This is the deep restorative stuff where your body does its physical repairs. Then, you've got REM sleep. This is where your brain can be just as active as when you're awake, but your body is basically paralyzed. This is the stage where all of our wildest, most vivid dreams happen. And we don't just pick one and stay there all night. We go through these stages over and over again in cycles that last about 90 minutes. At the beginning of the night, you spend a lot more time in that super deep restorative sleep. But as you get closer to morning, the REM, or dream stages, get longer and longer. That's why you so often wake up right in the middle of a dream.
Now, this whole cycle allows for one of sleep's most critical jobs. While you're sleeping, there's a microscopic cleanup crew called the glymphatic system that kicks into high gear. It literally flushes out all the toxic gunk that builds up in your brain during the day, including some proteins that are linked to Alzheimer's disease. It is a literal brainwash, and it can only happen when you're asleep.
Okay, so we've got the clock and we've got the brain's activity. Now, let's get into the really weird stuff, the bizarre things that happen to us when we close our eyes.
Come on, you know this feeling. You're just drifting off, everything is peaceful, and then bam! Your whole body convulses and you jolt awake, heart pounding. It's called a hypnic jerk, and it turns out there's a really cool physical reason for it. So here's what's going on. All day long, as you're standing and sitting, gravity is compressing the little jelly-like discs between your vertebrae. When you finally lie down and all those back muscles relax, those discs start to decompress and expand back to their normal size.
Now, right after you lie down, this expansion can happen pretty fast. And when it does, it causes a sudden stretch in some of the deep muscles that are connected to your spine.
And your nervous system can sometimes misinterpret that quick stretch as a sign that you're falling. So it fires off a protective reflex, kind of like when a doctor taps your knee, and your muscles contract suddenly to catch you. And that's it. That's the hypnic jerk. It's just your body's overprotective alarm system going off by mistake.
Okay, from a physical jolt to a full-blown mental movie. Dreams. They might be the single biggest mystery of sleep. And honestly, science doesn't have one single answer. But there are a bunch of really compelling theories about why we do it.
Some scientists think dreams are how we sort through the day's memories, like filing away important information. Others believe it's a kind of threat simulation software, letting us practice for dangerous situations in a totally safe environment. Or, hey, maybe it's just our brain trying to make a coherent story out of all the random electrical signals firing off while it does its nightly maintenance. The real answer is probably a little bit of all of the above.
Now, for way too many people, sleep isn't a mysterious adventure. It's a nightly battle. So let's talk about the most common sleep disorder out there, insomnia.
Just look at that number. It is staggering. Up to half of all adults say they have trouble sleeping on a regular basis. This isn't some rare condition, it's a massive public health issue that affects our mood, our thinking, and even our immune systems.
So, what can be done? A lot of people reach for sleeping pills, but the evidence is pretty clear that there's a better long-term solution. It's a type of therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI. It works just as well as medication in the short term, but it has zero side effects, and people are way less likely to have their insomnia come back. Why? Because it teaches you to fix the underlying thoughts and behaviors that are messing up your sleep in the first place.
So, let's bring it all home. Whether you have full-blown insomnia or you just want to wake up feeling a bit more refreshed, what can you actually do about it? This last part is all about practical, science-backed advice.
Okay, this is basically the foundation of good sleep. Consistency is king. Try to go to bed and wake up at roughly the same time, even on weekends. Your environment is huge. Make it dark, quiet, and cool. Watch what you eat and drink, especially avoiding caffeine late in the day. And the big one, limit that bright screen time before bed. But maybe the most powerful tip on this list is the last one. You want to train your brain to associate your bed with sleep and only sleep. That means if you're tossing and turning from one than, say, 20 minutes, get out of bed. Go do something calm and boring in another room until you feel sleepy again, and only then go back to.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that sleep is not a luxury. It's not wasted time. It's an absolutely essential biological process where our bodies heal, our brains get cleaned, and our memories are saved. It's a non-negotiable pillar of health, just as important as diet and exercise. So the real question is, are you treating it that way?